Sagittarius. Your jaw will drop. They nailed you, but a shocking bombshell is about to hit. Sagittarius, sometimes life delivers blows that catch you off guard. As if someone has placed you directly under the spotlight and declared to the world what you hoped would remain hidden. To be nailed is to feel exposed, misunderstood, or even betrayed. And right now the universe is showing you that such an experience has already unfolded or is about to. But before you let fear overtake you, know this. What seems like an attack is in truth a revelation. The very thing that shakes you has the power to set you free. This is not a warning meant to paralyze you. It is an awakening designed to sharpen your spirit. That bombshell approaching is not only about what others say or do to you. It is about what the stars are aligning to reveal within you. The truth that has been buried under pride, silence, or distraction is about to rise, and though it may leave you breathless, it will also leave you transformed. In this journey together, I will guide you through the layers of this experience. We'll uncover why betrayal or exposure can be a gift, how shocking news often precedes breakthrough, and why destiny sometimes uses pain as the key to unlocking your next chapter. Stay with me, Sagittarius. Let these words become a mirror of healing, and if they touch your heart, share them, like them, and subscribe so you don't walk this path alone. Gate 1: The sting of exposure and the truth beneath it. Sagittarius, few things pierce as sharply as the moment you realize you have been nailed, called out, misunderstood, or even accused in a way that leaves you feeling naked before the world. Exposure, whether just or unjust, always hits deep because it strips you of control. And for a soul like yours who thrives on freedom and self-determination, that loss of control feels like fire against your skin. Yet, beneath the sting of exposure lies a truth that only the brave are willing to face. Nothing that rises to the surface is random. When your name is spoken in criticism, judgment, or revelation, it is because the universe is using the voices of others to hold up a mirror. It is important to remember that being nailed does not always mean guilt. Sometimes you are accused of things you never did. Sometimes people project their own wounds onto you, using your name as the scapegoat for their pain. And yet, even in those unjust accusations, the universe asks, how will you respond? Will you meet fire with fire? Or will you use the moment as a test of character? Your Sagittarian soul is not meant to remain trapped in cycles of defense. You are meant to rise higher, to extract wisdom from even the harshest blows. Let us reflect on examples from real life. Public figures often know the agony of being nailed. Singers accused of scandal, leaders criticized for decisions, actors dragged through headlines. Some fight back bitterly, some collapse under the weight, and others, like Nelson Mandela or Malala Yousafzai, transform exposure into a stage for resilience. Malala was literally nailed by violence, shot for speaking truth, yet her story became a bombshell of empowerment for girls worldwide. Mandela was nailed by imprisonment, yet the bombshell of his release changed the destiny of a nation. Though your own experience may not be global, Sagittarius, the pattern remains. What looks like humiliation can become the seed of transformation. When you are exposed, ask yourself, what part of me needed this? Perhaps you have hidden behind masks for too long, showing only the parts of yourself that felt acceptable while suppressing the truth. Exposure tears away the mask, forcing you to confront the raw reality of who you are and how you are perceived. Though painful, this is freedom. For only when you are fully seen, flaws, mistakes, brilliance, and all, can you step into the wholeness of authenticity. There is also a karmic layer to this moment. Sagittarius, you are a truth seeker, but you are also a truth speaker. Sometimes your honesty has cut others more deeply than you realized. The universe, in its balance, may now be asking you to taste the other side of that sharpness. Not as punishment but as empathy, to understand what it feels like to be misunderstood, so that in the future, when you speak truth to others, it comes not only with fire but also with compassion. Still, exposure is never the end of the story. The shocking bombshell that follows, the one that will drop into your life like thunder, is proof of that. It may come as hidden truths revealed in your favor. It may come as allies you never expected stepping up to defend you. It may even come as a radical opportunity born directly out of the ashes of scandal. Life has a way of turning sharp endings into surprising beginnings, and Sagittarius, your chart right now is buzzing with that possibility. Think of the phoenix, rising not in spite of the flames but because of them. Exposure is your fire. The The bombshell is your rebirth. And if you dare to stay in the fire long enough, you will emerge not with shame but with strength. Practical reflection is needed here. Take a quiet evening and journal. Where have I been misunderstood? Where have I hidden the truth of myself out of fear? Where have I spoken truth without compassion, and what did it cost? As you write, do not seek to defend or excuse, seek to understand. For in understanding lies the power to turn exposure into enlightenment. Another way to work with this energy is through ritual release. Write down the accusations, the judgments, the ways you feel nailed. Then light a candle and burn the paper, declaring aloud, I release the weight of perception. I stand only in truth. In doing this, you shift the energy from victimhood into empowerment. The fire consumes what others tried to define, leaving only your authentic essence. Sagittarius, being nailed is not a curse. It is a sacred crossroads. It is life asking you, will you remain wounded? Or will you claim the power hidden in vulnerability? The bombshell is coming, yes, but it will not destroy you. It will shatter illusions, it will disrupt false stories, and it will propel you into a chapter you could never have written without this upheaval. What seems like betrayal today will be remembered as breakthrough tomorrow. Your jaw may drop when the bombshell hits. You may feel as though the ground beneath you shifts overnight. But when the dust settles, you will see it clearly. The universe has not nailed you to break you. It has nailed you to reveal you. And in that revelation, Sagittarius, your freedom begins. Gate 2, when the bombshell drops, the collapse that awakens. Sagittarius, the sting of being nailed is sharp enough, but what follows, the bombshell, can feel like an earthquake shaking the very ground beneath you. Bombshells are those moments when truth can no longer be hidden, when secrets burst open, when events unfold so suddenly that life as you knew it can never return. First, they terrify us. They strip away the familiar, they dismantle the carefully constructed image, and they leave us standing in the rubble of what used to feel safe. Yet, paradoxically, these very explosions often clear the way for a destiny we would never have touched without them. A bombshell is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to awaken you. But awakening rarely comes gently. It comes through the shattering of illusions. Consider the personal stories of people who face public betrayal or devastating revelations. Oprah Winfrey herself spoke of the bombshell moment, when early in her career, her deepest childhood trauma was exposed by a tabloid. At first, she felt destroyed, as though the world had stolen her dignity. But she later realized that the exposure freed her from shame. It allowed her to own her story instead of hiding from it. That bombshell did not break her. It gave her a global platform to heal others. Sagittarius, you too are standing at the threshold of such a moment. What you fear as destruction may be the universe tearing down the walls that confined you. For too long, perhaps you have clung to a version of yourself that kept you safe but small. The bombshell shakes those walls apart. Your jaw may drop, your spirit may stagger, but once the dust clears, you will see something extraordinary: freedom. Why do bombshells feel so cruel at first? Because they arrive without warning. They are the storm you did not prepare for, the thunder that cracks the sky on what seemed like a calm day. But life's greatest transformations are often born in moments we never saw coming. A sudden job loss becomes the doorway to a calling. A betrayal in love leads to the discovery of a deeper, truer partnership. A collapse in health awakens a radical shift toward self-care and spiritual clarity. The very things that feel like punishment often reveal themselves to be protection. This is the cosmic law of reversal. The universe allows certain shocks not to harm you, but to reroute you. Sagittarius, your fire is restless. You are always chasing the horizon. Sometimes, destiny knows you will never leave the familiar unless it collapses around you. The bombshell is the collapse. It strips you of excuses, it pulls you out of comfort zones, and it pushes you toward the growth you secretly longed for but never dared to choose. Think of the Tower card in the tarot, which represents sudden upheaval. Many fear this card, but mystics know it carries hidden blessings. The tower only falls because its foundation is false. It collapses so that a truer, stronger foundation can rise. When the bombshell hits in your life, Sagittarius, ask yourself, what foundation is being destroyed? Is it pride? A false identity? A toxic connection? A belief that no longer serves you? The rubble may scare you, but beneath it lies the chance to rebuild with authenticity. Real-life testimonies abound of people whose greatest breakthroughs came from bombshells. J.K. Rowling, before writing Harry Potter, described herself as the biggest failure I knew. Divorce, poverty, depression. These were her bombshells. Yet from that rubble her destiny emerged, not just as an author but as a voice of hope for millions. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the very company he created, nailed publicly, humiliated. Yet the bombshell of that loss led him to discover Pixar and Next, both of which reshaped technology and storytelling. Eventually, he returned to Apple stronger, ushering in innovations that defined an era. Their stories proved the pattern. The bombshell is not the end. It is the threshold of reinvention. Sagittarius, you must understand this. The bombshell you face is personal, but it is also archetypal. Every soul that dares to grow must endure collapse. Yours simply arrives now because your spirit is ready. Do not waste time resisting the fall. Instead ask, what truth is this collapse trying to reveal? What gift hides inside this loss? What version of myself is dying so that a greater version may rise? There is also a spiritual dimension here. Many traditions speak of the dark night of the soul, a season where all familiar lights go out, leaving you in darkness. Feels like punishment, but it is sacred initiation. In the dark night, your false selves are stripped away, and only your authentic soul remains. The bombshell is your initiation, Sagittarius. It may strip away your pride, your image, your attachments, but it will never strip away your essence. And that essence, once revealed, will shine brighter than ever. How can you prepare your heart for this? First, surrender the illusion of control. You cannot stop the bombshell from falling. You can only decide how to meet it. Will you collapse in bitterness? Or will you rise in courage? Second, anchor yourself in faith. Remember times in your past when sudden losses later revealed themselves as blessings. Hold on to that memory as proof that the universe is not cruel, it is purposeful. Finally, embrace curiosity. Ask not why me, but what is this teaching me? That shift alone transforms the bombshell from curse into catalyst. Sagittarius, the bombshell is about to hit, and yes, your jaw may drop. But when it does, do not let fear paralyze you. Stand tall in the rubble. Look around with the eyes of a seeker, and you will see what others miss. The collapse is not the end. It is the clearing of the path, the unveiling of truth, the gateway into a destiny you could not have imagined. Your spirit was born for horizons, and sometimes, the only way to reach them is through the sudden, shocking dismantling of what you thought was permanent. When the bombshell drops, remember this. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Gate 3, the mirror of relationships and the truth revealed. Sagittarius, one of the most difficult truths to face when you are nailed and a bombshell explodes in your life, is how deeply this moment is tied to your relationships. For while it may appear that the exposure and the shock come from outside forces, often they are intricately connected to the bonds you have formed, the loves you cherished, the friendships you trusted, the alliances you built. When the bombshell falls, relationships often serve as both the stage and the mirror, reflecting truths that could no longer stay hidden. You may feel betrayed when someone close to you reveals something you wish to keep private, or when whispers about you grow into storms. And betrayal cuts differently for Sagittarius than for other signs. With your open heart and fiery optimism, you tend to give trust easily, believing that people will honor your honesty and freedom as you honor theirs. When that trust is broken, it doesn't just wound you, it shakes your faith in humanity. Yet, even here, the universe has a lesson. Every betrayal is a teacher. Every broken bond a mirror of what must change within. Take, for example, the story of Anne Lamott, the writer and teacher. She once said, expecting the world to treat you fairly, because you are a good person is like expecting a bull not to charge you because you are a vegetarian. Her own experiences of betrayal taught her that goodness does not shield us from life's blows. But it also taught her that broken trust forces us to redefine what truly matters. Sagittarius, when the bombshell shakes your relationships, it is not proof that love is worthless. It is proof that truth must take precedence over illusion. Relationships mirror your own soul. If someone nails you with words of accusation, ask yourself, is there truth, however small, in what they reflect? Sometimes the hardest thing is to admit that even enemies carry a shard of truth in their criticisms. Not because you are guilty of all they say, but because the universe uses their voices to highlight shadows you have ignored. Perhaps you have been careless with words. Perhaps you ran from conflict rather than facing it. Perhaps you gave too much of yourself away without boundaries. The bombshell in relationships is not simply meant to hurt you. It is meant to awaken you to patterns that no longer serve your highest path. Sagittarius, your gift is honesty, but honesty without empathy can wound. Perhaps part of this exposure is life asking you to refine your truth-telling. Not to silence it, but to season it with compassion. When others nail you, do not waste time in denial. Sit with the discomfort. Ask, what are they reflecting that I must acknowledge? You may not like the answer, but if you embrace it, you will grow stronger, wiser, and freer. Yet not all exposure in relationships is fair. Sometimes the bombshell comes through lies, distortions, or manipulations. In those moments, the mirror does not reflect truth about you but about them. It reveals their envy, their insecurity, their unresolved pain. And though it is tempting to fight back, to match wound for wound, your Sagittarian spirit is called to something higher. You are asked to see their actions not as personal attacks, but as evidence of their own suffering. This does not excuse their betrayal, but it frees you from the chains of bitterness. When you realize that their betrayal says more about them than it does about you, you can step away with dignity instead of drowning in resentment. Consider another real-life example. Eleanor Roosevelt was often criticized, nailed in newspapers for her outspoken views, ridiculed for stepping outside the role society demanded of women in her time. But she understood a deeper truth. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. The bombshells she endured in her relationships with the public were not hers to carry. They were projections of fear and resistance from a society not yet ready for her truth. Sagittarius, remember this wisdom when others try to define you through betrayal. Their words do not determine your worth, your response does. Still, let us not romanticize the pain. When relationships collapse, when people you trusted shatter your heart with a bombshell, grief is inevitable. Allow yourself to grieve. Sagittarius often runs from grief, seeking distraction in adventure or humor, but grief unacknowledged festers into cynicism. Sit with the sorrow. Cry for the lost bond. Write letters you may never send. Let yourself mourn what was so that you may release it fully. Only then can you move forward without dragging the corpse of betrayal into new horizons. The gift hidden in these relationship bombshells is clarity. What once was murky becomes undeniable. You see who is loyal and who is not. You see who stands beside you in the storm and who walks away. And though painful, this clarity is liberation. It strips away false friendships, shallow alliances, toxic loves. It leaves you surrounded not by quantity but by quality. The souls who truly honor your fire. And there is more. Sometimes the bombshell reveals not only who others are, but who you are becoming. Perhaps you needed to be nailed, betrayed, or exposed to finally outgrow the version of yourself that tolerated too little or gave away too much. Perhaps this collapse was destiny's way of forcing you into boundaries, self-respect, and higher standards for love. Relationships are mirrors, yes, but they are also ladders, lifting us into the next evolution of our soul. Sagittarius, let this truth sink deep. You are not defined by the betrayal, the accusations, or the bombshells in your relationships. You are defined by how you rise. Do you become bitter? Or do you become better? Do you close your heart? Or do you refine your love? Do you stay nailed to the wounds of the past? Or do you free yourself by learning, forgiving, and moving on with clarity? When the dust settles, you will see that the shocking bombshell was not about destroying your relationships. It was about purifying them. What remains after the storm will be stronger, truer, and more aligned with your destiny. The ones who stand by you now are the ones meant to walk with you into the future. And as for the rest, let them go. Their chapter in your story is finished. Gate 4: Destiny, Resilience, and the Rebirth after the Shock. Sagittarius, every bombshell carries within it the seed of rebirth. You may feel as though the exposure, the accusations, or the collapse of relationships has shattered everything you thought you knew. But here is the deeper truth. Life never destroys without also creating. When the ground splits open beneath your feet, it is not to bury you. It is to unearth the destiny waiting to emerge. Your jaw may drop at the intensity of this storm, but once you breathe through the shock, you will see clearly that this moment is not the end. It is the beginning of a chapter you were destined to enter. Destiny often hides behind chaos. It rarely arrives wrapped in comfort or predictability. Instead, it comes disguised as crisis, betrayal, or sudden change. Why? Because the human spirit resists transformation until it has no choice. Sagittarius, your free spirit loves movement, but you are not always quick to release attachments that no longer serve you. Sometimes the universe must shake the foundations of your life to push you into the next horizon. That bombshell, the one that leaves you breathless, is also the force that liberates you from stagnation. Think of the caterpillar. It must dissolve into formlessness inside its cocoon before it becomes the butterfly. From the outside, the cocoon looks like death, a complete collapse of identity. But within that breakdown is the alchemy of transformation. Sagittarius, you are in the cocoon now. The exposure nailed you, the bombshell shook you, but inside this dissolution, destiny is shaping your wings. Resilience is your key. Being resilient does not mean pretending you are unaffected. It means allowing yourself to feel the sting, the humiliation, the grief, and then choosing to rise anyway. True resilience is raw. It weeps, it questions, it bends, but it does not break. You have already survived more than most know, Sagittarius. Look back at your past, at the betrayals, losses, and disappointments that once felt unbearable. Did they not forge you into someone wiser, more compassionate, more determined? This bombshell will do the same. History reminds us that resilience in the face of bombshells is the birthplace of greatness. Maya Angelou, nailed by racism, poverty, and abuse, rose to become a global voice of dignity and love. Viktor Frankl, nailed by the horror of concentration camps, discovered through suffering a philosophy of meaning that has guided millions. Their lives show us that the bombshell is not the end. It is the portal through which destiny emerges. Sagittarius, the same energy flows through you. Your fire was never meant to be extinguished, it was meant to endure, even when the world tries to douse it with shock and betrayal. But destiny is not only about survival, it is about the shape you choose to give your life after the shock. What will you do with the rubble? Will you use it to build walls of bitterness or bridges of wisdom? The choice is yours. Every bombshell provides an opportunity to rewrite your story. You may not control the event, but you control the narrative. Instead of saying, "This destroyed me," you can declare, "This revealed me." Instead of saying, "They broke me," you can affirm, "They awakened me." Language is power, Sagittarius, and the words you choose now will shape your destiny. One practical way to honor this rebirth is through intentional redirection. Take the energy of the shock and channel it into growth. If the bombshell came through betrayal, use it to refine your boundaries and call in relationships that honor you. If it came through exposure, use it to shed false identities and step into authenticity. If it came through loss, use it to realign your life with what truly matters. The bombshell is a brutal teacher, but it is also a generous one. It strips away everything unnecessary, leaving only what is real. Spiritually, this is your initiation. In astrology, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, wisdom, and destiny. Jupiter does not work in small ways. Its lessons arrive with thunder, often through shocking events that push you beyond your limits. The bombshell is Jupiter's way of saying, "Your spirit is ready for more. You cannot stay here any longer." Though it feels like punishment, it is actually a graduation. You are leaving behind an old self, an old life, and stepping into a wider, freer, truer existence. To embrace this rebirth, cultivate practices that ground you in both faith and vision. Journal about what has collapsed and what possibilities are now opening. Meditate on the image of the phoenix, rising from flames that once consumed it. Speak affirmations of resilience. "I am not broken. I am reborn." Surround yourself with people who see your light, not your wounds. Destiny is not a solo journey. You need allies who remind you of your strength when your spirit wavers. Remember, Sagittarius, your story does not end with the bombshell. It begins there. This moment will one day be a chapter you look back on and say, "That was when everything changed. That was when I discovered who I really am." You may not see it now, but the seeds of greatness are being planted in the soil of this collapse. The shock that makes your jaw drop today will be the memory that makes your heart swell with pride tomorrow. And perhaps most importantly, do not lose your fire. Bombshells can make us cautious, mistrustful, even cynical. But Sagittarius, your gift to the world is your optimism, your belief in horizons yet unseen. Do not let this shock steal that from you. Let it refine your wisdom, Yes, but never let it extinguish your hope. The world needs your light, especially after the storm. So rise, Sagittarius. Rise with resilience. Rise with truth. Rise with the fire that no betrayal, no exposure, no bombshell can ever extinguish. Destiny has chosen this path for you not to punish but to prepare. And when the dust clears, you will see what was always true. You are stronger than the shock, greater than the collapse, and destined for horizons far beyond this moment. The gift hidden in the shock. Sagittarius, you have now walked through the sting of being nailed, the chaos of the bombshell, the mirrors of relationships, and the rebirth that follows collapse. What seemed at first like humiliation, betrayal, or destruction is in truth an initiation. Life is not punishing you, it is refining you. The shock that left you breathless was designed to strip away illusions, to break the cages you no longer belonged in, and to awaken you to your destiny. Yes, your jaw may have dropped. Yes, the bombshell felt like too much to bear. But here is the truth you must hold close. Nothing that is meant for your highest good can ever be destroyed. What falls away now was never truly yours. What remains is what was always meant to walk with you into the future. And in that future, you will see clearly that the collapse was the clearing of the path, the betrayal was the unveiling of truth, and the shock was the hand of destiny pushing you forward. Sagittarius, take this moment to honor yourself. You have endured the fire, and though it singed, it did not consume you. You are still here, wiser, stronger, freer. Do not let bitterness become your legacy. Let resilience and authenticity define your story. The bombshell that once broke you will one day be the story that inspires others. If these words resonate, share them with those who need light in their own storms. Like this message, subscribe to our journey of wisdom, and remember, no matter what the universe strips away, it always leaves you with one unshakable truth. You were born for horizons greater than the shock you now face.